I'm Laura from Garden Sanity, and it's time for a Dappled Willow update 1 year after coppicing. And coppicing means cutting them all the way down to the ground. I have an entire Dappled Willow video playlist that you can watch this whole evolution of how these shrubs came to be, how I cut them down to the ground, and now here we are, let's see, a little over 1 year later. It was March 2021 when I cut them down, and here's what they look like. And then this year, in April, I gave them a pretty good pruning. Some of them were about 5 feet tall. And not only did I prune them up and out, but I also pruned them back so that you could see the paver edging. And now here we are, just about, I would say, 5 weeks later. And look at them. They're absolutely beautiful. Our fence is 6 feet tall, so the tips of them are almost reaching up to the 6-foot mark. A few of them are just over. And they have that absolutely gorgeous springtime color of the cream, the green, and the pink. So what I want to say very quickly is anybody scared of pruning these back, don't be, because look how they grow back. They're absolutely beautiful. They're exactly how we want them to look. Nice and lush, nice and full. They're growing up, they're growing out, but they're very bushy, very full, nothing spindly. It just looks great. We also have one down here. Now this was a cutting I put in about, boy, I want to say 3 years ago already. And this is at the end of the wall, and what you're seeing in the corner, this is an arborvitae that we bought that we've got to get planted in another spot in the yard. Another video coming up at some point. But look how pretty this one looks too. This one started out great, and we've just been pruning it the correct way. You know, just not letting it get out of hand. It's not that there's a correct way, it's just don't let this dappled willow get out of hand. Now this one, in terms of its color, you can see the pink is almost faded now to cream. But I will show you a shrub at the other end of the wall where it's still pretty pink. So it's just the way the sun hits it, the amount of sun it gets. Although we've had so much rain lately that it's surprising they got any sun. But yeah, you can see against the white fence, that's a good, there you go. So you can see the cream color against the white fence. But the leaves in general have a beautiful variegated color. They look great. I am so pleased with this. Now this was not one of the shrubs that we coppiced. We didn't have to. It was all these guys. And yes, there's still this spot here where I'm going to put another cutting. But look at those. Especially with the magnolia that's just about finished blooming. That is beautiful. So this shrub also seems like it's fading from pink to the cream already. As is this shrub, but it's got a little bit more pink on it. So it's rather funny how they're going down the row, and that one on the end there seems to have the most pink still yet. But here again, you can see all these shoots coming up. So this has grown pretty quickly since the day that I pruned it in early April. So remember how much I cut it back from the paver edging? Just to show you how much it grows back. You see that? That's all over the edging. And what I will do is I'll come in here once it's done quote unquote blooming, once the pink is all done, I will trim this up again, especially at the bottoms. Because if I don't trim these bottoms, I'll tell you who will. If rabbits get back here again this year, they'll trim it up. So I'll cut that back. There is nothing like the pink spring color. I mean, seriously, right? Any of you that grow this know exactly what I'm talking about. This is beautiful. Wow, we're actually getting a little bit of wind. It was so still out here this morning. And guess what? We're getting more rain today. More severe rain, they say. So, not much of a gardening day today. But I can share with you how beautiful the dappled willow's looking. Here's another shot so you can see just exactly how much this has grown over the pavers already. So again, what I'm showing you this for specifically is don't be afraid to prune these back. They grow back. Not a problem. Now here is the one I was telling you about where, remember I showed you in the pruning video a month ago, most of this died back and I was left with a stump, and I kept some of these on the edge. See them growing out from the edge there? And they're kind of growing right into this shrub. I'll leave them for now, but I think, you know, this shrub's gonna just end up going away. I may cut the whole thing back because it's not a bad idea to have some room in between the shrubs. I'm not gonna put anything in between these two. I do like the room more. I mean, look how much. Let me put a picture up of what these looked like. Let me step back here. So let me put a picture up of what these looked like on April 7th. And now here we are in mid-May, and here's what they look like. So yeah, these grow back, and they start growing back into each other. So that's okay. They look beautiful, but just showing you what can happen if you don't prune, it would be even crazier. Trust me, watch my previous videos on dappled willow, and you'll know exactly why I'm an advocate for pruning them and really trying to take care of them now. So here's the last dappled willow shrub that I'm about to show you. And just for context, it is next to the magnolia jane tree, which is still blooming its heart out, which is great. The leaves have really filled in. As I mentioned in my last video about the May flowers that were in bloom, we had 2 hard frosts that really killed a lot of the blooms on this magnolia tree. But boy, we really lucked out. And I still see a few. Yeah, let's look at this real quick. Look at that. Looks like we're still going to have a few flowers yet to come, which is great. But I digress. So let me show you this last shrub, because it does have a lot of the pink still coming out. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I'm so excited. Look at that. Still nice pink to enjoy. So this gives you a nice idea of the range that you get in the springtime. You've got this beautiful deep pink just starting out, and then some of the other shrubs I showed you that possibly just got more sun. They did theirs a little bit earlier in the season. Earlier meaning what? Last week, week before? So they weren't as pink, but look at these. Oh, that's pretty. Boy, is that pretty. That is nice. Ooh, look right in here. Look at that. Now on the same shrub, as we go down, you've got mostly the cream color now again, because the pink, as you see right here, is fading to cream, and that's what'll happen. Now I also want to show you, for those of you that worry, you see some yellowing of the leaves in here? That's not from lack of water, that's from too much water. And this is planted in a wet spot, but we have gotten inundated with rain over the past week or so. And so you're gonna see some yellowing. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. For dappled willow shrubs, if they need water, they're gonna actually start shriveling up at the ends, like you might see. So let's take this leaf, for example. If you were to see some brown on any of these leaves on the edges, that would be an indicator that you definitely need to water it. Now down here I'm seeing we've got some good pink still yet to come. Boy, is this fun. And while I'm back here, remember I told you I was cutting in the last video when I was pruning these back, I was cutting them away from the fence. Look how they've grown to the fence again. So it's not necessary, but I will probably come back here and prune them back just to keep some air behind the fence, between the fence and the shrubs. And same back here. This is the other one. But this is how fast they grow. And look at that pink. This is why I say they bloom in the spring, is because the pink leaves definitely look like flowers, don't they? So now I'm looking at the shrub from the other side, right next to the Magnolia Jane. And I just want to show you how far out, again, the branches start growing. I had cut all these back, again, so they could be behind the edging. So I'll come back in here after they're done with the quote-unquote blooming, and I'll trim some of these back, and that's not a big deal to do. Just beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed this quick update of how the Dappled Willow is doing, and I hope you see that in just a little over a year, I now have my Dappled Willow shrubs back after coppicing them all the way to the ground, then basically not doing much of anything after I fertilized. Pruned them this spring, about 5 weeks ago, and there you go. Until next time, happy gardening.